like to welcome everyone to this social innovation education session for the Festival of Change. And I start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands where we are all meeting, and I'm sitting on the Gabi Gabi land on the Sunshine Coast, and pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging. And I also like to acknowledge and thank Ashley Clark and the Office of Social Innovation for being awesome and putting on this Festival of Change. It's a great opportunity to share and to learn about change making across our university, but also across Australia and now internationally. So hopefully you've had some opportunities to attend some of these events, and I think that there's a number of events as well happening next week. So have a look at those ones. So today is the result of an ongoing discussion that Lara Carton, our Director of Social Innovation, and I've had with our Ashoka U Changemaker colleagues in the Asia Pacific region. So we are 3 Changemaker universities that are part of the Ashoka U network. We've got Singapore Management University and Hanyang University. And we've had the last 6 months been in conversation and talked about how we can collaborate better and learn from each other. So we had our first quarterly meeting, official quarterly meeting last week. And we had some colleagues from our university getting together and then exploring this and discussing how we can get better at working together. And it was facilitated by Alan and Singapore Management University. So this is the result of that collaboration, and I invited Alan and Hanyang to share a bit about their university and their approaches to changemaker education. So I'll start by introducing Alan and Hyun, and then I'll give a bit of an overview of our approach to social innovation education. A brief one, and then I'll hand over to Hyun and Alan to share a bit of what they're doing, and then we can have a bit of a Q&A afterwards. So if you have any questions or thoughts, you can put them in the chat, and I can keep track on that as well, and we can hopefully discuss those afterwards. So I'm going to have to look at my note a bit. So today we're going to hear from Dr. Alan Yu, who's an American leadership development educator, researcher, and consultant. He's the program manager at the Lien Center for Social Innovation, and he supports the team in areas of program development and delivery, workshop facilitation, and research on social innovation. His area of interest lies in rural and international development, leadership and creativity in social innovation, arts-based pedagogies, and in leadership education and the use of developmental evaluation in change management. And we've also got Professor Hyun Shin, who's the Professor of Marketing, Director of Social Innovation Lab, and Director of Impact Business Research Center at the School of Business, Hanyang University in Seoul, South Korea. And he also serves as a Ashoka U Change Leader, Director of Impact Science Research Center, and Editor of Stanford Social Innovation Review, Korean edition at the university. Their credential obviously goes on, but I'll keep it short there. Thank you so much for joining us. So before I hand over, I thought I'll share a little bit about our approach and see the similarities. And to give you some background, so CQUniversity, we've been an Ashoka U Changemaker campus since 2016. And this was also when our first social innovation strategy was published. And we've had a graduate attribute called the social innovation mindset since 2017. And our latest university strategy makes it clear that social innovation philosophy should be embedded within all aspects of our operations. And it's explained that one specific goal is to embed it in the curriculum. And we now have options for courses to include a professional practice unit that includes a social innovation module and our iChange. And all students are expected to develop what we call this social innovation mindset throughout the course. So to support staff doing this, we've produced recently a social innovation education strategy that's just been approved by the academic board. And this document explains what we mean by embedding social innovation into the curriculum. So I wanted to share 2 pages from this document and just give a high-level explanation of our approach. So if I can find my... So hopefully you can see this page. So this is our strategy focus areas. So we take a very broad and view on social innovation education, but we particularly focus on these areas. So we include within focus area 1 a focus on the UN SDGs, and this gives students an opportunity to understand a lot of the systemic complexities that exist and also have something to work towards. So the idea is that the SDGs should be linked to courses and units when they can. The other focus area is around the specifics around embedding it into the curriculum. And we are particularly focused on the social innovation capabilities, and I'll come back to those. And then for focus area 3, we try to introduce social innovation into our vocational education and training as well. And then we continue to push forward with thought leadership as a Changemaker University and encourage all staff, researchers, educators to do this as well and think about how we can progress with social innovation, social entrepreneurship, and social impact in higher education. And then the last one, focus area 5, is about developing innovation courses, and this ranging from micro-credential short courses to postgraduate courses in social innovation and social entrepreneurship, social sustainability, and social impact. And when we talk about embedding social innovation capabilities, we've got within the strategy a capabilities framework, and this is meant for us to show what the mindset is that we're talking about when we say social innovation mindsets, and then link that to specific skills and attributes. And these are not discipline dependent, so they can be included or embedded within most disciplines, and maybe in different units or across courses, and or scaffolded through. And I'm sharing this because I think once we've heard from Alan and Hyun while they're presenting, to have a reflect on how this fits into what we are doing and where it could sit within this framework. So that's all I wanted to share those. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and check my list here. So I'm going to hand over to Alan and Hyun to talk about their respective approaches. Hyun, are you okay to go first?
I think maybe Alan.
Alan, go first.
Can you go first?
All right, I'll hand over to you, Alan.
All right, sure. Good morning from Singapore Management University. Once again, my name is Alan Yu, and I'm a change leader at Singapore Management University, and I've been at this university for about 3 years now. I'm also employed at the Lian Center for Social Innovation. So as a change leader, my role has been to connect different parts of our local ecosystem together to create new opportunities and synergies for change making. And as part of my role, I've organized dialogues on topics such as cultivation of reflection, communicating and fostering and encouraging meaningful impact on our campus, and of course, collaboration between universities, which is something that we did with CQU and HYU last week. I'm also responsible for cultivating and developing change-making experiences for our students, and some experiences that I have been involved in include developing international study tours to places such as Bali, leading the development of a student change-making app, organizing an artistic performance where students dress and perform as eminent change makers. My training is in leadership education, and creativity and social innovation. My role as a change leader allows me to try out new pedagogies and approaches to inspiring change makers on campus. So that's just a little bit about me. I'm going to talk a little bit now about Singapore Management University and who we are, and our role as a change-making institution here in Singapore. Just a little bit about us. We are a specialized university with programs in business, law, computing and information systems, economics, accountancy, as well as the social sciences. And so we aim to develop practitioners that could apply their knowledge to make a difference. Because we are a young university that opened its doors in 2000, what we aim to do is to be and you can see it right here, this is in our mission and vision, but we aim to be a world-renowned global city university. And it's tackling the world's complexities, impacting humanity positively. So given what we understand the world needs, and given what we offer as a specialized university in a global city, our priorities are digital transformation, sustainable living, and growth in Asia. And we have a set of graduate learning outcomes. We expect our students, by the time they graduate, to possess disciplinary and multidisciplinary knowledge. We also emphasize intellectual and creative skills. So this includes the critical thinking, as well as innovative and entrepreneurial skills, interpersonal skills, which would include collaboration and leadership, as well as communication skills, global citizenship, which includes intercultural understanding and sensitivity, ethics and social responsibility, as well as personal mastery. And this is basically knowing how to get things done with self-directedness, reflection, resilience, and positivity. Just going on, so I want to say that change making is actually a part of our university's DNA, because this university was founded and established to change society by offering a different approach to higher education at the time. One of our founders, Ho Kwon Ping, had noticed that what was characteristic of undergraduate education at the time was mass lectures, essays, and exams. And having been educated in the United States, he was inspired by certain aspects of education in the States, including having the opportunity to explore various disciplines outside of your major or your specialty, group projects, co-curricular activities, seminars and Socratic dialogue. So Mr. Ho Kwon Ping wanted to bring some of these things to Singapore. And so Singapore Management University was an experiment, and it was a successful experiment that did change the way education works and is delivered in Singapore. However, I would also like to say that change making at our university is driven by Singapore's position in the world, its resources and its limitations. We are a small country with limited resources, but at the same time, we want to be self-sufficient, and we want to make good use of what we have. And so we're a very innovative country. We have, we purify and recycle our water. We generate electricity from used water and food waste. We extract minerals from incinerated waste. But I think, and we also are interested in urban farming and producing our own food and growing food on the top of buildings and other areas. But what is most important in Singapore is our human resources, because that's pretty much what we really have. And we want to have a capable and competent workforce that plays a role in adapting Singapore to meet some of the ongoing challenges, such as climate change, food insecurity, and pollution. And so to support, I'm gonna put this back up. So to support, so to support change making at our university, we have a core curriculum, and this aims to help our students develop, all of the different skills, the global learning outcomes that I had talked about. This particular core curriculum is it's different from general education requirements that are very typical part of American colleges and universities that aim to expose students to a wide range of disciplines so that they can later select a major. Our core curriculum aims to give people experiences, to prepare them to be change makers. And so they develop their capabilities for change making by taking things like math, writing, reasoning, leadership management, design thinking. They have to take courses to give them an understanding of how society works. They have to, in the current ongoing problems, they have to, and then we also have a civilizations portion where they have to, they have to clarify their system of values and sense of purpose through coursework in ethics and social responsibility. In each of these different parts, there are required capstone projects, which would include internship, community service, global exposure. And so in fulfillment of the core curriculum, our students really do amazing things. They have the opportunity to travel to places like the Philippines to help children build and repair bicycles. Or they could go, so that these children could go to school. But they can also stay in Singapore and they can help disadvantaged youth feel more determined and confident by teaching them dance and music. We also have an office that's headed by a different change leader that focuses on experiential project-based learning. So if you can imagine, taking a statistics class where you don't just sit in a room and you learn the concepts and you take tests, but you actually have to apply your understanding of statistics to a community service project with an organization that wants you to analyze the data and use your data to educate the public on breast cancer awareness. So we believe that it is through experience and application that all education has meaning. And I just want to highlight a few projects that people have done. Please keep in mind that community service is one change-making initiative. It's a very important one because this is where most students will get their first taste at change-making. But I want to highlight Project Heart Code in the lower left. So this is an annual project that has started since 2017 by undergraduates from our School of Computing and Information Systems to equip underprivileged youth in Singapore with basic programming skills so as to expose them to IT and future career pathways. Other projects include some of our overseas experiences. Okay, we have Project Gazab, which has been something that we've been doing for 11 years. In 2009, a freshman by the name of Jamon Mok initiated this project. And this is an overseas community service project to Nepal. And he did this in his very first semester at SMU. And this project started with the sole aim of alleviating poverty by helping the poor start their own micro enterprises through conducting business competitions in schools. And through the annual projects, our students equip high school youths with business knowledge and provide them with seed funding for startups. So the Gazab model also hopes these youth become change catalysts who in turn inspire and lead their own community in the fight against poverty. And then, as I had previously mentioned, we have the Bike for Change. This involves a team started by the SMUX Biking Club. So in support of a more car-light society and the reduction of carbon emissions, this team reaches out to youth in the Philippines, enables the community to gain greater accessibility and reduce their commuting time through the donation of bicycles and train-the-trainer workshops on bicycle maintenance. And this team is also working with organizations in Singapore to encourage youth to use bicycle as recreation activity, to combat stress and promote health and mental wellness. So these are annual projects. Because of COVID-19, this project has been suspended and would resume once travel restrictions are lifted and or when overseas partners are able to collaborate with us again. So these are just some examples of some of the things that we do. And an important part of our institution is also the process of reflection. So we have different offices that work with students and we promote reflection in various ways. So if you were to go to the the Center for Social Responsibility with a community service idea, students would be encouraged to connect with society. So questioning, what is my purpose? How do I get involved? What is my long-term and short-term impact? If they were to do a problem-based course, they have to reflect on their problem-solving process. How do I apply what I know? How do we collaborate? How do we design? It is through the core curriculum that we hope to develop integrated intelligence. So it's not just understanding the problem, but it's also understanding the context in which the problem exists. They also have to reflect on career development. How can I gain, the experience, the expertise? How do I qualify myself to do the work that I want to do? And lastly, through ethics courses that are part of the core curriculum and some of our sociology courses, they have to reflect on their values. What do I stand for and what is important for me? So it's through a combination of experiential learning and cultivating reflection that we build change makers here at SMU. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. That's yeah, it's amazing to hear what's happening across our region and some of the similarities, but also what we can learn from that. I'll keep questions to the end, maybe. So if you do have any questions or thoughts, you can put them in the chat. But otherwise, I'll hand over to Hyun, and we hear from what's happening in Hanyang.
Thank you. So my name is Hyun from Hanyang University, and let me talk about the university and collective impact. A little bit of background. So in the Hanyang University was a social venture founded in 1939 with the founding philosophy, love in action. And at that time, you are basically captivated by the Japanese empire. So yeah, after then we got independence in 1945. And that small social venture now grew up and became one of the leading universities in South Korea with its competitive edge on business and technology. And notable change makers include M.K. Chung, who was the CEO for the past 20 years at Hyundai Motors Group. And recently he handed over the CEO position to his son. And B.K. Yoon, he was also former CEO of Samsung Electronics. And maybe if you like baseball, Chan-ho Park, a very famous pitcher at LA Dodgers. And Byung-hun Lee is also a famous actor. And then he was basically Snowstorm in G.I. Joe. And now his handprint is in Hollywood. So we have several change makers. And especially if you like Korean drama and movie, then we have a lot of people. And recently, Yeo Jung-yoon got the Academy Award this year, and then she is also from Hanyang University. And senior leadership's commitment to social innovation. So we have very strong commitment towards social innovation, and we have a long-term strategy of the university, and it's called 3S: startup, smart, research and education, and social innovation. And you have this kind of coordination structure for social innovation. You have Social Innovation Committee and Steering Committee and Social Innovation Center and Social Innovation Research Center. And recently the name is changed to Impact Science Research Center. And you have social innovation curriculum. So on the undergrad level, we have double major in social innovation. So students can take about 45 credits to get this double major. And we offer over 10 courses every semester focusing on the social innovation. And also we have master's program and PhD program in social innovation or social economy, etc. And recently, business school, we launched the first ESG MBA program in South Korea. And it's very popular nowadays. And we have pretty interesting ecosystem for social innovation. So in Korea, there's a very interesting cluster called Songsu Valley, which is a platform for social innovation. And there are over, indeed, now 3,000 young change makers, social entrepreneurs, and social innovators working together very closely with each other. And indeed, that location is very close to the university. It's like 10 minutes walking distance from the university. So we have very strong interaction between this cluster and university. So the role of Hanyang University is to build the ecosystem for change makers. And also we try to make this Hanyang and Seongsu Valley as a hub of change makers in Korea, maybe hopefully in East Asia. So what? So I thought about what I should do, and easy start should be just teaching a course on social innovation. So since 2012, Hanyang University offered social entrepreneurship course, and since 2016, I'm teaching this course, and we basically give students basic theoretical foundations and concepts and something like that, and then let's just do a project to develop social business plan, and then at the end of the semester we bring our students to meet with impact investors and social entrepreneurs to get very intense feedback. Some interesting outcomes. This is fun and interactive donation kiosk called Tetris. And this was invented by students who took the social entrepreneurship course. And the idea is basically if you see this kiosk and if you swipe your credit card, then like $1 will be charged. And then that money will be donated to NGO. And then if this money goes to NGO for like food, then this kiosk will show you some interesting music and basically falling kind of bread pictures. And then if this money goes to education NGO, then you will see the falling books and pencils, and etc. So it's very fun. And then because you get this kind of music and interesting pictures, you get some attention from other people, and that will make you happy. So this is kind of interesting donation idea. So we work with many different organizations to make this happen. So professors in engineering, business, local government agency, and also university foundation, etc. And some students, after taking my social entrepreneurship course, they founded a kind of restaurant, Korean food restaurant in Philippines. And basically they hire single moms in rural areas to create jobs, sustainable jobs. So that's great, but we thought, this is not insufficient. So what I tried to do was to think about some more sustainable collaboration framework. So we tried to develop sustainable partnership to make bigger impacts. So big question is, what can we do to make collective impacts as an Ashoka U Changemaker campus? So as for research and teaching, we worked with Ashoka and big companies like SK. And also we try to promote and disseminate what we learned through SSIR, stand for the Social Innovation Review, Korean edition. So we try to incorporate collective impact framework in this kind of university stuff. So this is one example, partnership project, social innovation practicum that I developed in 2018. So basically the key idea was we thought about the needs of local social entrepreneurs. They are very good at solving social problems using business model, but they had difficulty in marketing due to limited budget and manpower. And SK Group, which is one of the top 3 conglomerates in South Korea, they had this kind of Happiness Foundation. They have pretty good expertise and human financial resources for marketing, and they want to better support social entrepreneurs in South Korea because just giving money is not enough. And Hanyang University, we are good at digital marketing because my major is marketing, especially digital marketing and analytics. And we need to allow students to practice social innovation in class. So we have each institution have some strengths and some needs, etc. So we try to combine these issues. So what we thought about was to help social enterprise to solve social problems And university developed a course, and SK Happiness Foundation, they provide financial support as well as some mentoring service. And also we work with government agency and private companies to help 10 social enterprises. So scope of collaboration, we developed a course called Social Innovation Practicum for 1 semester with 30 students. And we adopted KEP strategy, knowledge, experience, and practice. So we define R&R, role and responsibility, and Hanyang University, we are good at course design and administration and digital marketing skills. Local social entrepreneurs, they could meet with our students and they can give us feedback, very kind of real world feedback. And Happiness Foundation, financial support, and also they provide some pro bono service. So digital marketers in the real world came to my class and work with our students. So we provide impact consulting to local social entrepreneurs. So this is one example of my students' work. So basically they developed 3 types of advertising for Jerryback, which is a company, social enterprise in Uganda. So they try to let single moms to learn how to make this bag, and they try to sell this bag at high price. It's like $100 per bag, very expensive, but it's very popular. So my students developed 3 types of advertising: storytelling based, functionality focused, and emotion focused. And they did advertising campaign in Facebook and YouTube, and then they got this kind of result. And they realized that in the real market, people are more responsive to functionality oriented advertising. So they refined the advertising campaign and they focused their resources on this one. And they reached 150,000 people, and they got 23,000 participations, like click, likes, etc., plus market insights. So my students spent about $450, and then they got this result and market insights, and we presented this to our social entrepreneur, the Jerryback. So the CEO was pretty happy. And this is another company, Donggubat, and Donggubat is a local social entrepreneur who tried to create job for ADHD people. So my students also used about $500, and they reached 320,000 people, and this advertising was exposed to 3,000 times. Now, Lumir is a social enterprise which tried to provide light to less privileged country people. And my students developed these cute kind of images for their product. And using this image, they developed this kind of content and news card and event, online event, another online event, and storytelling based content. So they work with a local cafe to place this kind of luminous product. And they developed advertising campaign, CF, and this one is easy to use video clip, and this one's emotion appealing video clip. So they tried many different contents and see what is more attractive from customers' perspective. And they get this insight, and then they refine their advertising campaign. So in this way, in 2018, fourth semester, my students got support from SK Foundation, about $10,000, and we exposed advertising campaign to 1.2 million people, and we got participation 60,000 and 10,000 clicks. Results: everyone was happy because my students, they learned these digital marketing skills, and then also they did some very kind of rewarding kind of experience. They got rewarding experience by helping social enterprises. So students are very happy. And SK Foundation was also very happy because they got these kind of tangible results to help local social entrepreneurs. And social entrepreneurs, they are also very happy because this kind of digital marketing work it's very labor intensive. And my students did all the chores. So, and then they got this result. So they were very happy. So everyone was happy. So it became sustainable. So we did this project every semester since then. Key takeaways. So survey results, we measure how much students' skills were improved after participating in this project-based learning, PBL. And students said that their empathy skills were improved quite a lot, 4.5 out of 5 points. And also communication, collaboration, reflection, interest in social innovation, and participation intention in social innovation were quite improved. So it's very impressive. So we try to expand this idea within the university. So what I did was to change, renovate our introduction to business class. So since spring 2019, this course is taken by all first-year students. So we have about 400 first-year students, and we incorporate this social innovation idea so that students can do some design thinking and try to solve problems of customers. And at the same time, they try to make some positive impact for the society. So so-called double bottom line kind of business plan. And also we developed another interesting class, climate change and impact business, since for 2019. And we work with professors from engineering school, business school, and also newspaper company. So that we can make bigger impact. And it became very famous and popular. So this course, Climate Change and Impact Business, was ranked #1 among the 250 courses, general kind of courses in terms of students' satisfaction. And also we try to expand this idea outside the university. So we developed impact consulting camps since summer 2019. So we worked with foreign trade university in Vietnam, and we worked with Asia Foundation, Mars, and Vietnam Post, which is kind of #1 IT company in Vietnam. So this is the pictures from our impact consulting camp. And my students went to FTU students, and my students went together to Vietnam Post to make presentation on impact consulting. And professionals from Asia Foundation and Vietnam Post came and then gave us pretty good feedback. So indeed, our work was broadcasted in their TV news and newspaper in Vietnam. And also we presented this result to at the conference and seminars, etc. And we developed another interesting class, Social Innovation Practicum, in fall 2019, which was first English-based social innovation course in Korea. So we worked with Asia Foundation, Korean representative, and also Mars Catalyst to implement this economics of mutuality concept, which was developed by Oxford University and Mars. And basically students tried to develop impact consulting project. And indeed, this course was also recorded, and then you can get this contents through CQUilearn, which is a UK-based learning platform. So lessons from partnership project, stage 1, so we're planning, stage 2 implementation, stage 3 evaluation and beyond. And we basically learned this kind of planning at the planning stage. R&R, define R&R is very important. And implementation, we should have very good team and open communication. And evaluation and beyond the stage 3, at stage 3, we need to measure the outcomes and try to do some reflection to further improve the class for the next year. So we learned that collective impact framework works pretty well in university-involved collaboration. So now we work together with Ashoka And then we learned that university can be a pretty good backbone organization. And also we work with SSIR, Stanford Social Innovation Review, for local dissemination and global reach. Yes, this is the end of my presentation, and love, action, change is our founding principle at Hanyang University. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Hyun and Alan. Great. It's I don't know if it's just because I know what I was showing before, our capability framework, but the attributes that we associate with social innovation mindset, it's kind of, you can see them all through here. You know, it's empathy, it's creativity, it's that outcomes focused attitude and wanting to make a difference, and collaborative kind of leadership. Like, they all in there, even though you may not have identified them as specific attributes. So sometimes they are, you know, in the skills, we call them skills, but depends on how you frame them. Thanks for that. There's no questions in the chat, so I don't know if anyone's got anything. I wanted to, if someone's sitting there thinking about a question, but maybe here's something from you both, just in terms of how do you see, because I think you already collaborate with other universities in terms of students exchanges and then students collaborations, but what do you think, what are other opportunities, and do you think there are opportunities for CQU to collaborate as well, and what's your experience in doing that? Just a brief insight into that, Hyun.
Oh yes, so indeed I was looking at the chatting box, the questions from colleagues, and one question by Ashley Clark was, what type of support do you provide to students when they're working with community partners to ensure quality control? So I think what students want the most was the feedback, very close feedback by faculty members and also real world people, practitioners. So what we usually do is we provide some financial support, maybe some money for example, digital marketing or something like that. And also we provide very close kind of feedback. So we usually do tech meeting in maybe every 2 weeks, and then students can present what they have done, and then we give some feedback and how to improve. Then students become very happy, I think. And then around for the midterm and final presentation, we invite the practitioners, so that practitioners can provide a very real world kind of feedback. So in this way, I think students can be very happy. And in the end, we usually provide some awards. So I talk to, for example, the dean of the business school or some high-ranked people, so that I can use their names for the reward. Then this can be in students' CV, right? So students can get a better job. So we try to provide that kind of incentive system.
Thanks for that. Alan, just in terms of that collaboration with other universities, and then I can jump onto some of the questions. What's your experience doing that?
Yeah, so at the moment, I currently am. I have been involved in a course called Sigma, and this is a sustainability course that is offered as part of the. It's a consortium of universities. It's not Ashoka, but it's European and Asian universities. It includes ESADA as well as Dauphine University, St. Gallen, Copenhagen Business School, Vienna Business School, as well as Hitotsubayashi in Japan. And we have it's offered through Coursera. And what do we do? Each of the professors has a certain module that they teach. So we share the responsibility of delivering the content of the course. All of the students from the various universities participate together, and they are grouped into small project teams where they have to produce some sort of so it's called a case cast, but what it really is, it's a video. It's basically a video case study where they have to analyze, assess, a sustainability initiative that is being done by a organization that they have chosen to research, and the students have to get together, they have to produce the videos, they have to, they have to communicate across cultures, they have to, figure out how to meet, regarding, differences in time, and they have to figure out ways to share information. So this has been an opportunity for students to get together and practice collaboration at a global level. So that's something that we have experimented in the past, and students have found these experiences very interesting and rewarding. And we're definitely hoping to have more experiences like that with organizations, with institutions such as HYU as well as CQU. And as you had mentioned earlier, Tobias, we had been talking about ways in which the three of our institutions could collaborate. We had talked about opportunities where we could have like multi-university teams and doing some sort of community service or social innovation work anywhere in Asia, in places like Vietnam. Things like community service, that's definitely required by Singapore management and Hanyang University. So we feel that that could easily be pulled off, with some amount of work. But we've also talked about practicums, and because that is also something that we are interested in, as well as opportunities where we could explore a social innovation issue from three different perspectives. But I think the opportunity for us to have three change-making universities that have local infrastructure, to build new infrastructure, to create opportunities for students to interact on a global level is very powerful, because many of the problems that we are facing today, including climate change, including the current pandemic crisis, these are social problems that cannot be solved at the local level. They require global collaboration, and students need to have that sort of practice. They need to know how to operate at a global level. So that's why I see collaboration as being very, very vital to the education of young people today. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And do you have any? Because I'm jumping onto Lara's question here, just in terms of, do you have an understanding about the impact these type of experiences have on their long-term career developments? I don't know if you track that, or do you have any anecdotal kind of sense of that?
Well, for the Sigma course, we as well as our community service courses, we do have opportunities to debrief. At our university, we have something called a co-curricular transcript. So we don't just track students' grades, but when they sign up for student clubs and they run for president or whatever, we do keep track of that information on their transcript. They are required to reflect. And there is an assessment process where, it's not like you're getting a grade for your extracurricular involvement, but we do recognize that certain students they choose to get they get exposure, and that's great. Everybody's at a different level. There are certain students that get this global exposure, and they may be interested to learn more. And they can certainly choose to. There are other individuals that that really get a lot out of a specific community service project, and then they go on and they do really great projects that such as this lady that was interested in making sure that water was accessible to certain villages in China. So different individuals, they experience change making in different ways at this university, and and we do document how students grow through our co-curricular transcript, for sure, as well as when we finish activities, we always give people an opportunity to debrief and to share some of the things that they learn, sometimes in a public format. Yeah.
Thanks, Alan. I'm just going to have to ask this because it's part of one of the core skills for me anyway when thinking about, or for within our strategy when we're thinking about what students needs to be able to practice and be capable of or being exposed to, and that is systems thinking. So I might throw it to you, Hyun. You mentioned design thinking, but do you also, how do you incorporate system thinking for the students?
Indeed, I was writing an answer to Robin, and I just partly just finished. And yeah, I think system thinking is very critical when they when students do social innovation project with community especially. But one good news is that it cannot be learned through just reading textbook. And then I think this kind of community-based project is a really good way to implement this and system thinking skills and learn about that. Yes, and I think that is very good question. Thank you, Robin. And also, I have this interesting question by Lara, and then I wrote down and my answer. And indeed, I think students need some good storytelling. But they need to show why I am very good at teamwork, and then why am I very good at empathy skills, collaboration, etc. They need some evidence. And by doing this social innovation project, they have this very good storytelling. We try to help these people, and we did some mistakes, and from this mistake we learn something, and we improve, and we finally got this very good result. And in so doing, they can talk about how they improve their empathy skill, collaboration skill, etc. So by providing this kind of very good story, so I think my students become more competitive in the job market. And also ESG became very big recently in South Korea. So some of my students told me that when they went to get interviewed by big companies like Samsung and LG, etc., so they faced this kind of question about ESG, and because they were very well prepared. So I think some of my students indeed succeeded in getting very good offers. So I think now it works.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. So with regards to systems thinking, we do have several offices on our campus that try to facilitate the people, public, private connections, and in the past, I know that for sure we had a tri-sector collaboration master degree. We don't have that at the moment, but we do have a series of offices that are tasked with building relationships that can lead to opportunities for multi-sector collaboration, and one of those is that's very important in building relations for us is actually the international office, and our international office actually does more than just study abroad experiences. I mean, they also connect. They're trying to connect different systems together. So they may, they actually have people that fly out to places like India to talk with the businesses over there, as well as government officials to identify possible opportunities for collaboration. Lien Center for Social Innovation often has events where we get people to co-create together. So we have these labs, and of course we send our employees to other labs that are going around the city. So we do have these collaborative opportunities as well, and it's also something that we strive to teach in our coursework, the importance of systems change and innovation, because the structures that exist today are not enough to solve some of these problems. You have to create new relationships and new structures, especially amongst the government and the public and private, to address really, really big problems. And we understand the importance of building relationships that connect a wide variety of fields, disciplines, and expertise to solve highly complicated problems in this day and age.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, you go.
Oh, yes. So I just saw very interesting question from Peter Bolland, and he asked about the legal collaboration. I think absolutely this is really important. And then what I think is that because we are university, so the most important thing is how to provide students with some learning and kind of growth, kind of professional growth experience. And that's why I like the example from SMU. So basically, accounting professor, they bring their students. She brings her students to local foundations and NGOs to help their accounting system. So they have over 700 these kind of NGOs, and then students learn something very valuable in the real world. And in my case, because I'm a marketing guy, so I did this kind of digital marketing stuff. And then another interesting part is now we are developing a new course with POSCO, which is one of the big companies in Korea. So what we try to do is rehabilitation of the urban city. And then in so doing, we work with Habitat. So POSCO, they know how to renovate the hardware, and Habitat, they know the software, and Hanyang University and other universities went together to work with local community people to better improve the urban city. And so by taking advantage of our kind of expertise and our kind of knowledge, I think we can design better kind of courses for our students. And one thing very interesting is I have been teaching the social enterprise course for last 7 years. And then every semester, students try to solve one problem, that is plastic cup. So during the summer, we have a lot of iced coffee cups, right? And then, you know, they just throw away, and it's not clean and it's not good for environment. So students try to develop social business plan to address this problem, but I have never seen a success, because I think this is not easy. When you think about the benefit and cost, value and cost part, then business cannot solve this problem. But last year, in Korea, government, basically they launched a law. They developed a law, regulation. So every cafe cannot give this ice cup. The next day, the ice cup, the amount of ice cups are reduced by 90%. So I saw, oh, this is the power of legal kind of collaboration, law and government policy. So business and technology is sometimes useful to solve social problems, but it cannot solve every problem. And we need collaboration from very diverse fields, like legal and government policy and like sociology. I think every discipline can contribute.
Thank you, Yoon. I think that's a great way to end. The hour is up, but that's fantastic. So I just want to thank you both, and I think it clearly indicates the importance of interdisciplinary approaches to social innovation projects. And I think if we can find ways of collaborating with both of your university and then enable our students to have that experiences as well, I think that would be fantastic. And we're in the same time zone roughly, so you know, makes it a lot easier to do things than dialing in from overseas. I'm sure there was questions not answered, and I certainly had a few questions that I didn't ask. But the hour is up, and I would like to thank you both for your time. Really appreciate it, and being part of the Festival of Change.